Welcome to Paducah View. I'm Public Information Officer Pam Spencer. When you get your electricity bill, you more than likely look at the amount, but also start looking at the kilowatt hours. Reducing the number of kilowatt hours you use will reduce the size of your bill. Here's a quick way to think about it. A single 100-watt light bulb burning for 10 hours uses 1 kilowatt hour. Small changes in what you do at home can make a difference. Andrea Underwood, Director of Community Relations and Marketing at Paducah Power System, is here with energy efficiency information.
Well, by far the biggest energy user in the average home is the heating and air conditioning. That's going to cost you about 50% of your energy bill. So any kind of change that you can make to that can really have some kind of effect on your power bill. And one of the things that we recommend is that at the beginning of the heating season, you have your unit serviced and you make sure that it's running as efficiently as possible. Another really important thing that folks can do is to drop the temperature of their thermostat as low as they can while still remaining comfortable, because for every degree that you lower it, you do see some savings. So it's really important to pay attention to where that temperature is and to monitor it. It's important to check the insulation in your home. That's something that actually you can change in a way that perhaps is not quite as expensive as replacing your heating and air unit, and you can get a fairly quick payback on that. So check the insulation, make sure it's where it needs to be, that you do have a good R value on there, and look for other places to insulate, perhaps around the attic door, if that opening is within the conditioned space of your home. Those gaskets around your outlets in your home, those can be insulated as well. The outlets can be. So really look for all of those little nooks and crannies that can be sealed up. It's incredible how much you can waste in terms of energy around your home with leaks around doors and windows. And if you were to add all of those little places up in most homes, it's the equivalent of having a hole cut in your wall that's wide open that you're heating and cooling in the various seasons. One thing that happens in a lot of homes over time is that there will be leaks in the ductwork, and you can literally lose a lot of air underneath your home by having ductwork that's failed, it's come apart in some way, or it's has a lot of holes in it. And I know in my own home this summer, we found an area under a bedroom that we were basically blowing out cool air to the great outdoors. So we probably spent about $300 fixing that, and there's no telling how much money we will save by making that change. Many times we see customers who have a really high bill in the winter because they've been supplementing with space heaters. And that type of heating, any kind of resistance heater that you use, is really inefficient and can be very, very costly. And it's really a poor option. And so anything you can do to avoid those is usually a good idea. The second biggest user of energy in most homes is the water heater. And making changes to how much hot water you use can be an effective way of saving on your energy bill. And that can be as simple as perhaps maybe putting a timer on your water heater so that it's not running throughout the night, and that maybe you're only heating that water during those important times of the day. Sometimes folks will notice an increase in their energy usage in the winter, and it'll be around the holidays. And if you go back and you think about how many people were in your home, maybe you had company there, people staying with you, visitors, that type of thing, you'll notice that it coincides with that increase, and sometimes that's due a lot to the amount of hot water you're using for showers, for baths, for washing dishes, washing clothes. So paying attention to how much hot water you're using, washing full loads in the dishwasher, full loads in the washing machine, those can all be important ways of saving. And one of the areas that sometimes catches people is that your dryer, if you have not cleaned out your heating vent in quite a while, there can be quite a buildup in there of lint, and not just in the lint catcher there in the front of your dryer, but in the pipe itself, in that vent pipe itself. And there's special brushes for those that are inexpensive. You can get them at your hardware store, your home improvement store, and you can clean that out. And it's incredible how much you can clean out. And I know I did that this summer at my home, and I thought maybe my dryer was just getting old and maybe it was wearing out, and cleaned it out, got a bucket full of lint, and actually cut the time that it was taking to dry my clothes in half. And so sometimes that's an area that people are unaware of, that once taken care of can save them a lot of time when it comes to the dryer, and it eliminates a fire hazard. One of the areas that can be a big user in your home in terms of energy is the refrigerator and the freezer. And they run all of the time, 24/7. So if you have an older model and it's inefficient, then that can cost you money. And it's important when you are buying those type of appliances to look at the energy guide that's given there and pay attention to what it says, so that you make a good choice and then it doesn't cost you in the years to come. A lot of times folks will take their old refrigerator, replace it, and then put the old refrigerator in the garage in an unconditioned space. So now you have an older unit that's inefficient, that's working harder probably than it was before. And those refrigerators can actually cost you a lot of money. So you have to stop and consider if having that extra refrigerated space is something that you're really going to use and justifies what it may cost you in the long run. So really making sure that the models that you have are efficient. On your refrigerator, vacuuming those coils underneath, keeping those clean, helping that to run as best it can. That's really important. In terms of freezers, the chest type tend to be a little bit more efficient than the upright kind. When you open an upright freezer, then a lot of that cold air comes rushing out, and it doesn't do that quite so much in a chest type freezer. The more items you have in a refrigerator or freezer, then the colder it stays once that door is open, and the less it may cost you to operate. So if you have a freezer perhaps it's not that full, then one of the things you can do is take some milk jugs, fill them with water, and fill up that extra space so you have some ice in there, so to speak, and it helps to keep that unit full and maybe colder, and just helps a little bit. Again, all of those things add up. Each one individually may not help a lot, but when you do all of those things, then they do add up and help out. Making sure the gaskets are sealed. Those gaskets on your doors of your refrigerator and freezer, it's important that those are working well and that those doors are shutting and not causing air to leak. One of the ways you can test the seal on a door to the refrigerator or the freezer is to put a dollar bill in there and shut it, and then pull that dollar bill and see how hard it is to get it out of there. And if it slides right out, then that may be a sign that that gasket is not as tight as it should be, and you may be leaking some air. We know that we need to have an efficient heating and air conditioning unit. The reality is they're expensive to replace. So we'll wait until the absolute last minute to replace it, even though it may not be operating nearly as efficiently as it should be and costing us money. So what we recommend that people do is to research what you're going to need and prepare for that ahead of time, so that when that time comes, you know what you need, you've planned for how you want to pay for it, and you can do it without feeling like you're in crisis or maybe making a quick decision that could cost you money for years to come. We hear a lot about lighting these days. There's been a lot of discussion about it over the last year because of the disappearance, the elimination of incandescent bulbs, which some folks are really attached to because of the nice warm light that they give. CFLs are the replacement for that most people are using, and they've come a long way with CFLs in the last few years, and there are a lot of different options, different ones you can choose from. They are far more energy efficient than the old incandescent bulbs. Taking a CFL can save you maybe $40 over the life of that bulb compared to what it would have cost you with the incandescent bulb. So they really do save you money, and you do have options out there now to maybe pick a little bit warmer light if that's your choice. And saving some bucks, the LEDs are probably the next replacement for those, and There are options out there among those as well, but they are more expensive, and right now they tend to be a little more expensive than people want to spring for. If you're not going to choose the LEDs, then choose the CFLs and replace them as you can. You know, at our house, as one goes out, we replace it with something that's more efficient, and that seems to be a little better way for people to do it, a way that's a little bit better on their pocketbook. But anything you can do to change that lighting will make a difference. And how you use your lighting. You know that old adage that when Dad used to come around the house and turn the lights off behind you and say, "Who left this light on?" Well, it does make a difference if someone monitors that and pays attention to what you're using. And sometimes if you place a table lamp perhaps in a corner where there's a little bit of a reflection off of the wall, you can maximize that a little bit and get a little more light out of it. So think about where you place your lighting, think about what you're going to use it for, and choose a bulb that fits the task. And that very often can not only help you out, but again, will save you money by making the right choice. A lot of homes these days use what we call phantom power, and those are electronics and other items that are scattered around the house that use electricity even when they're not in active use. You know, gaming systems and other electronics that do pull a certain amount of electricity all of the time, even when they're not in heavy use. So one of the ways to test to see how much of that you have around the home is to wait until the evening, maybe before you get ready to go to bed, and then turn the lights out. And then just look around for all of those little blinking lights or lights that are staring back at you in the dark, and take note of that. And that's an item that's using some electricity even when you're not actively using it. So those things can really add up in terms of the amount of electricity they use each day. And then think about ways that you can turn those off when they're not in use. And that may be as simple as plugging them into a power strip, and then with one flip of the switch, turning those off when you don't need them, turning them back on when you do. It really is possible to save on your electric bill. It does take diligence. You have to pay attention to the items in your home that you use and how you use them. And making one or two changes may not save a lot, but making several changes can save you a fair amount of energy. Be diligent and then use the tools that are available to you. With the technology that we have now, most utilities offer tools that are able to allow you to monitor your usage every day. For instance, we have a customer portal on our website. We have mobile phone apps. Those are things that our customers can go in and use to see how much they're using every day and to track it, and maybe to make changes before the end of their billing cycle if they see that their usage is up. So utilities do that now, and it can be really helpful. And they also have employees there who are to help you manage your bill and to save energy and to find those things that are perhaps costing you money. So don't be afraid to call your utility and ask for that kind of help, and take advantage of whatever options are available to you.
We've talked mainly about being more efficient with electricity use. However, don't forget about water conservation. Use low-flow shower heads and faucets. Plus, fix any of those leaky faucets. 1 drop per second can add up to 165 gallons per month. Thank you for watching Paducah View.